Hi, my name is Christer Lindström. You can read about me up there. I work with transportation, public transportation mostly, and see how we can get people to get out their private car. And also, of course, find how we can do public transportation in a better way. So what I ask people themselves is a very simple thing. Do you think that today is the pinnacle and height of human innovation of transportation, how we get around? And when you ask that question, almost everyone give me the same answer: no, there's going to be something else in the future. Okay, maybe 5 years, 55,000 years, I don't know. But everyone says it will be something in the future. Yeah, I agree. The next question is, so what would that be? How would that look like? How would that be? And I get all kinds of answers like flying cars and tunnels and whatever, many ideas. And then I ask, okay, but what is the next iteration? What was the next idea paradigm of the future that is close, that is not 5,000 years? What do you think is the next? And one of the very often answer I get, well, they're already working on it, isn't there? Aren't they already looking at electric cars and self-driving cars and maybe better buses and maybe really high-speed trains, which actually already exist? And I go, that's not really innovation. That's not really future transportation, because first of all, it's to some extent happening right now. There's a huge amount of money going on to, for example, self-driving cars. In Bloomberg this fall 2022 said that it's $100 billion, think about this number, $100 billion. It's been invested into something that unfortunately doesn't seem to work. And the headline is going nowhere. So instead, what I suggest is think about how can we get a better way to move around? Is there something can actually be an alternative for the private car and also have something that's better for public transportation, the existing systems, and how can we improve the public transportation? So I'm looking at an idea of looking forward to this. So how can we have a process, and how can we walk through this, and how can we find solutions? And I really dislike going into actual solutions. Don't talk about solution. Talk instead about how can we go a path forward. So I think that one of the first things we should have decide what not to do. What is it we do not want, and we want to, first of all, we should, I think, use of extreme rare earth materials or any resource in nature as little as possible. I think that's number one. There should be kind of a beacon for what not to do. The reason of that, I see several events in the last couple of years that it's kind of shocking me. You have this journalist having an indigenous man looking at a reindeer in north of Sweden, and the journalist says, well, are you against innovation or against sustainability? And he's looking at the proposal to completely destroy the herd, the reindeer herd, and he's been taking care of the nature and his place for centuries. And basically, are you against innovation in future and having this big idea of completely destroy their nature, so in total to save the rest of the world is, of course, I think it doesn't make any sense to me. And that is something that I'm quite upset about. So, because why? Well, if we make a private car, we're going to have a lot of extra resources, and never forget that those resources are sitting somewhere on a parking place somewhere for 95% of the time. You can read Donald Shoup and his data and other people there. It's absolutely obvious that that's not a good idea, and doesn't make sense. All that resources into private car. We need to. There's only way to go forward is to share it. We have to share information. We have to share anything for transportation, because if we share it, we use less resources. Because instead of one use a vehicle or some kind of mode of transportation, and just sits and don't do anything for the rest of the day. It's much better that reuse that every day, and we have more people using that resource. Then we need less mines, with less earth resources, etc. I think that's a much smarter way to do it. Another thing, what is we do not want to do, we don't want to exploit people, and in Africa, for example, we have children doing very rare materials from the earth and destroying their skin and destroy their hands, and also adults using this and very poorly paid. And this is ongoing right now. So I don't think have an energy source in the vehicle, like regardless if it's fossil fuels or if it's a battery, is something that hurts a lot of people, and it takes a lot of time to get those resources, and then to recycle is a big issue. We are right now, today, we are creating a huge mountain of recyclable issues for the future, 10, 15 years already from now. There will be technologies that help some of this, but then there are probably new batteries, etc. going on, but still, we are still using all these resources, and both human and earth resources for people, for product that is not really used. So we're completely over exploiting a lot of resources. Now, one other thing I think is really important to think about, and what we do not want, we don't want any person to be excluded for mobility. We definitely want people to have an mobility solution, a mobility system that anyone can use, of course, regardless who you are, of age, gender, disability, of anything, financial reasons also. You don't need to, just because you're in a very poor place or because you are disabled or whatever age or anything, shouldn't stop you from go everywhere you want to do. So you should want to be able to go wherever you want to do in. So, however, there's also a couple of things. I have to scroll here a little here. There's a lot of things we actually want to do. There's many things. We want it to be safe. We want it to be, regardless who you are, if you are a single mom or with a lot of kids and you want to be able to go where you want to go to see a friend or something, you should be able to be there and actually go there without feel threatened or unsafe, and feel for yourself and for your family. You should be able to go wherever you want to do in a safe way. We want it to be economical. It should be a way to go so we should not hurt us financially too much. The cost of having a car or some of the transportation systems are very, very expensive. It's very important that it's something that it doesn't cost too much. And by sharing, it's of course, if you share the production infrastructure and mobility, of course, is less cost per person. We want it to be inclusive. Wherever we want to go, it's important that we want to go with whoever we want to go, wherever we want to go. And anyone should be able to go with whom we want to go. There should be a technology that gives us space for more people to go. Important, small detail, but it must be comfortable. People call the cars as little names, and they're very picky about their design, who made it, and things like that. I think we have to agree to that. That is something. They should be able to have choices for different kind of vehicles that we really like. And it's also important that is something is comfortable and suits our needs. I pretty much rather to wait for a minute or two to have the kind of vehicle or places I want to sit in and go to where I want to go. We want it to be efficient. We want it to use as little earth resources as possible, as I mentioned before. But also have to not to worry about congestion and getting late, and we wanted to have enough capacity to go where we want to go on time. We shouldn't take too much time to go. And there's a lot of systems out there that are the trains, buses, airports, whatever. There are a lot of things already in place, and we definitely want to be intermodal. That means if we want to change another system, it's already there to go far away somewhere, where it's important to be able to use that system. I think it's important that we have connections to those without any major problems. Should be easily to go from where you go to where you go, including the other mode of transportation. Now, a lot of people ask me again, how do you want to solve that? So I think that's what I'm suggesting, that we should start meeting and talking about these things, and stop invest a lot on technologies that we still don't know if they work. And I kind of suggest we need to have a kind of like an insurance policy, because right now it's $100 per $100 for these $300 billion cars into self-driving industry. I suggest that the self-driving industry is kind of more or less a scam. And I think it's time for those investors, they must be very worried about their investment, because it's been told all this huge investment, the return of investment coming back, and I don't think it will come. So, and if that's wrong, isn't it better to pay at least 1 cent on the dollar as an insurance policy, and put that in a big fund somewhere, and use that fund to look into what I'm just saying? Let's innovate. Let's think about like going to the moon or whatever, and do something together with those funds to do something that how we can do better technology for the future. I have a lot of ideas but I talk about that next time in the next video, and I'll do a better video than this one. Okay, take care. Bye bye. You can read more up at that. Take care. Bye bye.